Ever stood in an empty room and felt you weren't alone? Psychic investigator Andy Matthews has.
I try and get to the bottom of the truth.
And he's not the only one.
I've gone all through my life, from a very young age, being aware of spirit.
Something's down there. It's really a quest to find out the truth behind what happens to us whenever we pass over.
A former 19th century workhouse can't hide its grim past. Those who work here now say they've seen not one, but two ghosts.
It scares me.
It was really, really scary.
They just felt unease.
Somebody has.
There we go.
They believe. The question is, do you?
Nurse, he needs your help.
In the words of those who designed them, 19th century workhouses were the hardest taskmasters, the cruelest paymasters, and the most harsh and unkind friends. Limavady Workhouse, for the 10,000 souls that passed through it, was just such a place, offering hard labour, cold comfort, and just enough sustenance to stave off death.
As I drove along towards this building, I can't help but think that, you know, the sheer desperation people must have felt walking down this long road towards this place. You really had to be at death's door and desperate to enter a place like this. I mean, in many ways, it's kind of like a prison, probably worse than a prison, really, and I kind of dread to think what memories still linger within these walls. Damien?
Hello, Andy.
Hiya, nice to meet you.
Welcome to the workhouse. This was where the process began. This is where they were first brought before being brought into the body of the main house. Their possessions taken off them, given a number, and then dispersed into the main body of the house. Women to this side, men to this side. Yeah. Children, boys and girls segregated further throughout the place.
The splitting up of families was just part of a cruel regime designed to ensure that the poor only came here as an absolute last resort.
When you came here, you were at your wit's end. You could no longer support your family. And in many cases, the parents were at death's door, and it was so that their children would have some chance that they came here. And it is a fact, it's a recorded fact, that many people chose to stay in the fields and the ditches and die rather than face the workhouse. Young children were boarded out, was the term they used, to local mills, local landowners. You can imagine they would come in, pick out the healthiest of the children and take them away. We have found contracts between the workhouse and a wealthy landowner for a pauper child. Unfortunately, we've also reams of documentation, cataloguing all kinds and types of abuse against these children, even back then.
One of the ghosts said to haunt this place is not a former inmate, but a former 19th century employee.
A ward maid strangled her baby and hung herself. Not a very nice story really to go into an investigation with, but the fact is that the security staff here at night have heard the cries of babies.
I was just finished my shift about 4 o'clock and another guy was taking over. He heard it as well, like, it was a baby cry. You think it was in your own house?
Heard a baby down the front foyer crying. You hear it once or twice, and we could hear it more times, depends what part of the building you're on at that special time.
In 1932, the workhouse was closed. The last 20 inmates were transferred to Coleraine, and the building was turned into a hospital, thanks largely to a woman who many believe to be Limavady's other ghost, Dr. Catherine Robertson.
She lived in a great big mansion out the road. She had a family of daughters. It's known that every Christmas, rather than sitting in her big mansion out the road, she brought her daughters in here and they sat with the sick and the infirm who had no visitors on Christmas Day. So a very caring woman, very well thought of. She died in 1935, unfortunately. She was famous, well known around the town because she rode around on a great big white horse, which unfortunately threw her at some time in 1935, and she died from her injuries.
If there's anybody haunting this building, I feel in my heart it could only have been Dr. Robinson. I really do. If a patient was very ill, okay, and went to where the fever wards used to be, then a lady in a tall hat okay, with the coldest hands, very slim, cold hands, would come and tend to them that night. If they made it through the night, they survived, and if they didn't, they died.
Though the hospital closed 10 years ago, the team will spend the next few days seeking evidence of two tragic spirits, one a doctor, the other a nurse. Andy starts with the most recent sighting in what is reportedly the most haunted part of the building.
I was sat at the desk, which is facing just there, writing up my report in the occurrence book. And I felt, rather than saw, something behind me. And when I turned to look out of this window, I saw a shape. It came up to about this height and started to move across, down the windows. It came to the stairs here. It came round the corner and started to go up the stairs.
You saw it all the way up this staircase?
Continued to follow it up the stairs, and when I reached here, it just disappeared. It had gone completely.
Within an hour, the team have set up their CCTV network, but right now, nobody's watching the monitors, because an encounter has already happened off camera.
I was standing out the back with Roddy, and he asked me to check his back, and this is what we've found. Is that fresh? Looks red.
It's still stinging.
Still stinging?
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's still stinging. I felt the tingling out there, but only asked him to take a look at it out there. No. What do you think?
Let's put your hand up your back.
Not a hope.
No, it's not going to happen.
Not a hope.
Well, it's not uncommon to get scratches, is it?
The thing about it is, it's Roddy always gets scratched.
Does he?
It's always Roddy.
Somebody doesn't like him.
Well, let's send him back down and see if he gets scratched.
No, I've had enough for one night. Just scary.
99% of the time you're out on a paranormal investigation, you're perfectly safe. You know, spirit can't hurt you, or entities can't hurt you. You know, they haven't got a physical body, so it's physically impossible for them to hurt you. But I don't know, on this occasion there are scratches on him, and it's in a place where he really can't get to himself. I'm stumped. I really don't know. It's a mystery. I've got no clue. I've got no idea.
Early next morning, Andy's happy to see Marion. She lives and breathes the unexplained, even if sometimes it tends to disagree with her.
I'm saying nothing. What do you get?
It's like hitting me in the stomach. I feel queasy.
You okay?
I'm getting cramps in the stomach. Real bad cramps.
Is that something to do with what you're getting here? Yeah?
Yes, definitely. It looks so beautiful from the outside, but the feelings I'm getting here, you know, I really feel like I could throw up.
You right to go in?
Yeah, let's go. Yes, get in.
Right.
The first room Andy shows Marion is an old dormitory. A century ago, this was a cold and filthy room where female inmates slept on straw mattresses. For many, the deprivation wasn't just physical. Mothers consigned to this place would have had their children taken from them at the age of 2.
There's just loads and loads and loads of energy. They're sick, Andy. They're sick. And nobody's helping them. I feel like that, you know, you got sick, you fell down, you died. They were in a dire state by the time they got to places like this. But this is very Dickensian. The feeling of it is like I'm looking in a Dickensian book.
Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist, that type of era. No, I've got a gentleman.
Oh, you got somebody?
Yeah, I've got a gentleman. He's got a big collar, like it's a bit like mine, big white collar.